All right, so I'm still trying to do this whole live thing right here. So, long story short, before I get into this review, I tried basically record this video about half an hour ago, but apparently my webcam was acting all messed up for whatever reason. I think I fixed it, but so let me fix this right here real quick. There you go. So, the Royal Rumble tonight was in Phoenix, Arizona, in Chase Field, which I've been to. I don't live near Phoenix. I used to, but it's about a 3 hour drive from where I live now to there. So I live no more Tucson. For anyone that knows Tucson, Arizona, I live like less than an hour from there. So that's more closer to me more than anything. But nonetheless, tonight's Royal Rumble, I did get to see the pre-show. For those of you who don't know, you had Chad Gable and Bobby Roode versus Razor and Scott Dawson. I don't know, maybe Dash Wilder was injured. I'm not sure. I know Akam was. So it is what it is. Tag Team Champions won. It was a non-title match, by the way. You had the United States title match between Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev. Boy, have the mighty have fallen. It seemed like just yesterday, Shinsuke Nakamura was the Royal Rumble winner of 2018, and now he goes to the pre-show trying to get his United States Championship back against Rusev. Oddly enough, though, he wins the title back. I don't know why the whole point of this was, I know Rusev winning on Christmas was a feel-good moment on Rusev Day. By the way, happy Rusev Day, everybody. But yeah, Nakamura gets the title back. Whatever. So then we go on to Fatal 4-Way Cruiserweight title match between Kalisto, Hideo Itami, Akira Tozawa, and Buddy Murphy, aka Mr. Alexa Bliss. Buddy Murphy. So this match, from what I heard, was pretty good. I heard it from like 3 people. They're probably the only ones that actually watched the match on the network or YouTube, really, I think it was on. But just the cruiserweights just don't interest me. I'm sorry, especially these. Cruiserweights in the past, sure. These, no. But Buddy Murphy won. Okay, it is what it is. Moving on now to the main show. We kicked off with the women's title match on SmackDown side. You had Becky Lynch versus Asuka. And, of course, Asuka won the Royal Rumble match last year. This year, she's defending the Women's Championship. So, we all knew probably that Asuka was going to win this because they're going to find a way to get Becky Lynch in the Women's Royal Rumble match, because it wouldn't make much sense if Becky Lynch wins this match and then she's still in the Rumble match. What's the point? You know what I mean? So, this match wasn't horrible, but the ending kind of pissed me off because, especially when you saw the other women's title match on the Raw side, how that ended. They got it backwards, in my personal opinion. You could have had Becky Lynch get rolled up out of nowhere, being distracted by Charlotte, being distracted by Ronda Rousey, something. Hell, it could have been Ronda Rousey's entourage, her friends, the 4 MMA horsewomen, whatever the hell they call themselves. That would have made more sense, at least to me. It's like, okay, Becky Lynch is again screwed by Ronda Rousey, but this time it's her clique. And Asuka retains. Becky doesn't look as bad as if she would if she tapped out. Guess what they did? Because WWE is stupid. They made Becky tap out clean to Asuka. And I know it looks good for Asuka. Okay, cool, whatever. But where's Asuka going to be in a few months from that WrestleMania? She's probably going to be in a random freaking triple threat match for the women's championship against like Mandy Rose and Naomi or something. You know what I mean? Or they're probably putting Sonya Deville and make it a fatal 4-way. But you know what I mean? It's like, what's a bigger match? Asuka versus whomever for the belt, or Becky Lynch versus Ronda with most likely Charlotte? That's WWE's dying to make the main event of WrestleMania. I digress. So the ending was kind of dumb. I wasn't mind, as much as I prefer Becky over Asuka, I didn't mind Asuka winning. I minded how she won. She could have won again with a roll up or whatever pinfall maneuver in the ring, just making her tap out. To me, in wrestling terms, it looks better when you lose by pinfall than you do by tap out. Because tap out just makes you look weak. Pinfall, okay, you were knocked out. It's a thing. So, anywho, moving on to the the live tag team title match player. You had Shane McMahon and The Miz. Both were wearing matching gear. Well, technically, they're both wearing the baseball jerseys versus The Bar. And you kind of had a feeling what was going to happen in this match, that either Miz was turning on Shane or they were just going to straight up win the tag titles between The Miz and Shane McMahon. Miz and Shane worked actually surprisingly really well with each other, especially when Shane hit. This match was just crazy. You had Shane McMahon hitting the big spot, of course, everyone's talking about. The shooting star press, excuse me, off the top rope onto Cesaro to get the win. That was insane. And the chemistry between The Miz and Shane actually has been kind of not bad. It's been decent. Weird, because you think it's just a random pairing, but I guess their pairing is that, lol, our dads hate us, so yeah, let's be a team. But it was still cool to see, nonetheless. So we go on to the Raw Women's title match. You had Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. And this one, okay, how do I go with this one? This one was not a bad match. As much as people probably know, I'm not the biggest Sasha Banks fan by any stretch of the imagination. I think she's overrated. She's overhyped. Her personality disgusts me from what I've heard and what I hear from her from interviews, what I've heard for the rumors of backstage and everything. It's just she just comes off as a bad person. You know, it's just it is what it is. But she's had good matches. I'm not going to totally crap on her. But anyways, it's not a rant about Sasha Banks. This is about the match. Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks. Remember how I spoke about how the SmackDown Women's Championship match, how that ending should have been with here and vice versa? This is what I'm talking about. I thought this match on paper was going to have Ronda Rousey beat up Sasha Banks in about 3.5 to 5 minutes, maybe. Went a bit longer than that, so obviously they're making Sasha look relatively decent against Ronda. And I know the report earlier within the last week, which is breaking news, that Ronda Rousey wants to take time off soon to start a family. Ronda's been saying this for years now. It's not really a surprise. It's just kind of like an alarm. It's like, oh, WrestleMania, don't be surprised if she's not around. But, you know, she'll probably be back after she has kids. She won't be the first and only woman to ever have a kid and then eventually have a match again in WWE. So just relax. Relax. Anyways, this match wasn't too bad. Ronda Rousey hit a second Piper's Pit to pin, not tap out, to pin Sasha Banks to retain her Women's Championship. Again, I did not mind the result in this one. How it happened, I'm not too thrilled with. And I get it, Sasha's gonna go for the but they're gonna crown a new first ever, I guess technically, women's tag team champions at the Elimination Chamber, and the Elimination Chamber match is going to be a cluster, and I'm not looking forward to that just because, again, you know, people are saying, oh, you're anti-feminist, you hate women. I love women. You kidding me? I think I love women too much. The problem is that they can't even book the men's tag team division right. What makes you think they're going to do the same with the guys? They're going to book the guys better. You know what I'm saying? But anyhow, and they got to do a cross brand, and then that just kills the brand split. Anyways, Ronda wins. After the match was over, Ronda went over to her husband, and you know it was a nice little moment. They got a little kiss, whatever. But then Sasha goes right in front of her face, and just goes like this, throwing up the 4 horsewomen gesture. So it's like, all right, I get it. You want to maybe eventually plant the seed for a horsewomen versus the MMA 4 horsewomen match. Whatever, do it at SummerSlam this year, assuming that Ronda doesn't get pregnant between now and Survivor Series. But, you know, the fact that you have Sasha Banks, who in my personal opinion is the worst wrestler when it comes to in-ring talent out of the 4 horsewomen, threatening her is just laughable, but that's for another story. But the match wasn't bad. You know, I'm not going to crap on her. I'm not going to crap on Sasha during the match. It's just whatever. So then you had speaking of the women, you had the 30-woman Royal Rumble match. And they had Beth Phoenix come out there to be the guest commentator. That's what it is. Makes sense. And for some reason, I felt like within the first 5 entrants of the Royal Rumble, which were Lacey Evans, who was the second one? Natalya, Mandy Rose, You had hashtag Mania Wrestling, by the way. Liv Morgan and Mickie James. I was like, did Vince McMahon, did someone backstage have a clip sheet of just like, yo, we need to get like the first 5 women in the Royal Rumble match need to be blondes, or they at least were blondes at one point within the last like year or so. Because that's what you got basically here. And I'm not crapping on them because Lacey Evans, this was like her first match on the main roster. This is her debut match essentially on the main roster, and I thought she did relatively well for herself. Manny didn't do too bad. Liv was in there for, I kid you not, 15 seconds. And Mickie James at this point, as big as of a name she is in the wrestling business throughout her career of what she has accomplished, at this point she's just veteran that's putting the girls over, like helping the girls get over, which is not a bad thing. I mean, she's a veteran, she's doing her job, and it's no harm, no foul in that. But anywho, this match wasn't too bad. I felt like this match was better than last year's, and I know some people are kind of not too happy about this year's women's Royal Rumble match because last year's you had the veterans, you had was it Michelle McCool, you had Kelly, you had Tori Wilson, you had Lita, you had Trish Stratus. You had a lot of names from the past in last year's Royal Rumble match. So now you come from the legends slash Hall of Famers, you want to say, to all of a sudden a lot of these new girls coming up, like this one woman from China. She was in the Mae Young Classic, I believe. She was the number 10th entrant. She was Kia Lee. I'm probably botching her name wrong, and if I am, I apologize. That's my bad. I take full credit for botching her name. But she came in there as well. Candice LeRae was in this. Katie Catanzaro. If that name sounds familiar, she was on American Ninja Warrior, and I believe now she's dating Ricochet. She's down in the Performance Center. And they also had Rhea Ripley. And it's ironically enough because I felt like, and this might just be me being biased, all right, if it is, I apologize, but the women from like NXT system, they weren't getting much of a reaction at all from the crowd. Rhea Ripley comes out, you actually heard a bit of a pop. You're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, Rhea Ripley, let's go. That's funny too. Early in the match, we had Billy Kay come out, and she wouldn't come in the ring until Peyton Royce came out. Once Peyton Royce came out, Billy Kay went in the ring. I'm like, tag team. That's actually smart. Give her credit for that. That's a smart strategy by her. I know it's every woman for herself, but want to have her partner there until her partner in more ways than one. Okay, moving on. This match was there. It wasn't too shabby. You had Maria Kanellis in this. I was actually surprised that Maria was in there because I was like, she had a kid, I remember, not that long ago. But then again, I know she was in the Evolution Battle Royal, and she looked to be in good shape, and just like she was here. So, and then finally, it got to near the end, where I think it was number 28. You had Lana come out, but then Lana was kind of holding on to her leg like she injured herself. So I was like, okay, what the heck happens here? What happened? Did Becky Lynch kill her or something? And then number 29 came out, I believe was Nia Jax. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Nia killed her. And then 30 was Carmella. And then Lana was still on the ramp. And you had, you had Fit Finlay come out and checking on her like, hey, can you be in this match or something? And, Lana was just selling her leg. She couldn't get up. She could barely walk. And then out comes Becky Lynch. Like, hey, can I be in the match? Oi, can I be in the match, fella? And he's all like, oi, wait for it. And then so he went. He had at one point Zelina Vega in this match. She was hiding under by the way, I found it funny how she was going after Candice LeRae, which, kind of goes canon because they had like a mini feud in NXT, Candice LeRae and Zelina Vega. And ironically enough now, their husbands are feuding with each other. Lol, Aleister Black and new NXT North American champion, Johnny Gargano. So, Zelina Vega was hiding under the ring, and Hornswoggle was there. He popped his head, was like, hee. And I was just like, yep. This is going to take women's wrestling seriously, right? We have our little leprechaun, Hornswoggle. Now, granted, Hornswoggle actually got somewhat of a reaction. I'll give him credit for that, but again, moving on. Becky Lynch was inserted in the match. Rhea Ripley, who was in this match for a while, she actually looked relatively strong for what her being in there. She threw Casey Catanzaro like freaking wet paper. It was ridiculous at the spot they had. She did, and then she eliminated Dana Brooke, and then eventually she was eliminated by, I believe it was Bayley that eliminated her. And then the next thing you know was the final three was Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Charlotte. Becky was trying to sell like her leg was injured, and I had no problem with that. The problem I had was she sold her. I think it was like her left leg, and then it was like Charlotte. No, it was like Charlotte and Nia Jax were beating up on each other. Then Becky eliminated Nia Jax. Then Becky was selling her right leg that was injured, not her left. And I'm like, which leg is supposed to be injured in this match? I am very confused, and I know I wasn't the only one because when I was on Twitter, I saw everyone going, "What is he doing? Which leg is it?" Like all these tweets were like popping up on the timeline, the newsfeed. So Becky Lynch eliminates Charlotte, and Becky wins, which to me I'm perfectly fine with. I had no problem Becky winning this match. The problem I had was here. You had her tap out early in the night. And I know a lot of people are saying, okay, well, Becky's being forced down our throats. If there's Charlotte or Nia Jax, you guys would be losing your freaking minds. If it's Becky, though, it's naturally okay because she's over with the man gimmick. And I understand where people are coming from with that. I 100% agree with it. But she is over as hell right now. And I agree, I do not like how they booked her at the curtain jerker, the very first match of the night. Have her get pinned, fine. Have her tap out clean. Woo. Now it's like, okay, it's obvious that she's going to go after Ronda at Mania. So that's like, she tapped out against Asuka. Asuka, who was a dropper just basically several months ago until she won the belt at TLC randomly, in my personal opinion. But we're supposed to take her seriously against an undefeated Ronda Rousey in singles competition, which will probably end up being a triple threat match, but you get the idea. So don't be surprised on SmackDown in 48 hours from now you have Charlotte complaining, oh, she was in the match at the last second. That's not fair. I was the last one. She came in. So, anywho. But to me, I thought it was a good women's Rumble match. Me, again, better than last year's because to me, last year's was just, oh, God. I didn't, maybe be biased. I didn't like how Michelle McCool was looking like a dominant beast in the match, and Asuka ended up winning it. Because to me, the most relevant thing that came out of that was Ronda Rousey debuting. But anyways, then we go on to the WWE title match between AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. This match was dead. This match was like dead on arrival. And, for a lot of people, they like AJ. I like AJ. And I like Daniel Bryan. I think both guys can work well. For some reason, these guys have like no chemistry whatsoever with each other. I don't know. I don't know if it's because like AJ's a conservative Republican and freaking Daniel Bryan's a left-wing freaking liberal Green Party. I don't know. Seriously. Like, why these guys don't seem to gel well, I don't get it. There wasn't really any botching or anything going on. It felt boring. And the crowd was relatively silent. Again, a lot of people on Twitter were kind of seeming like they weren't really into it. And then out of nowhere, Rowan comes out. Yes. Formerly known as Eric Rowan comes down to the ring, and I'm going, Daniel Bryan trying to bring back the White family? This is something I don't know about here. I'm just relatively confused about this. So then he comes into the ring. Referee is knocked down. Rowan, I believe, choke slams AJ Styles. Referee starts getting up. Rowan gets out of the ring. Bryan pins him 1, 2, 3, and Bryan wins. And again, it's sort of like, okay, Bryan retaining the belt. Makes sense. Fine. No problem. It is what it is. Cool. Bryan has a big guy to help him because he's a smaller guy. Fine. No problem. Rowan, I don't know if this was supposed to be Lars Sullivan's spot. I know maybe. I have no clue. But, and anyone knows me, I'm not too much of an indie guy. But you could have put Harper in this situation. Harper at least has a relatively talented Rowan. Big Red, Michael. I don't know. It's not for me. This ain't it, Chief, for me. But I guess Vince thought, oh, he's big. It's Big Red. He's got a beard. Yeah. Bryan has a beard. Whatever. Then we go on to the Universal title match. You had Finn Balor in his jobber jacket versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Champ. Brock Lesnar. Yeah, by the way, no demon. No Finn Balor demon tonight. No demon pint. By this point, by the way, it was about 4 hours into the show, which made you think, oh my god, this show's going a little over 5 hours. Yeah, just about. So these guys had a match. That was going to be about a relatively short match, kind of like I thought Ronda Sasha was. It was kind of short. It was about 5 minutes or so. But Finn Balor actually got a relatively good amount of offense. He had a suicide dive, got his kicks, got his sling blade. And so Brock did a pretty good job, I'd say, selling for Balor in this one, despite obviously being overmatched in size between the two competitors. And Brock hit this Kimura lock on Finn Balor, and Balor taps out. And I was actually relatively kind of surprised by that because I thought, okay, it was going to be a stereotypical Brock match. Suplex, 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 suplex. F5. Good night, everybody. See you in 3 months. I thought that's what we're going to get. We did not get that. So I'm like, okay, pleasantly surprised. Fine. I'm cool with it. Now, supposedly after the match, Brock went backstage and chucked the Universal Championship at Vince. Now, that's probably 99.9% a shoot. So, don't be surprised you hear about this on Raw tomorrow and be like, Vince be like, yeah, Brock, you threw the belt at me. You should be ashamed of yourself. And then Seth's like, I would never do that, Vince, or something. I don't know. Spoiler alert. But, yeah. So then we can finally get to the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Oh, boy. And a lot of people are going to be talking. Oh, by the way, too, before I go real quick, when Brock hit the Kimura lock on Finn, Brock made this weird face. Like, he made the Brock face, like that meme Brock face. I'll probably put it as a thumbnail of this video in case you haven't seen it. If not, you could probably look it up. Probably just like search on Twitter, be like Brock Lesnar meme face, click, and then boom. So finally going to the main event, 30-man Royal Rumble match. The first entrant was Elias, and the second one was WWE Hall of Famer. Some Jeff Jarrett position. Seriously, it was Jeff freaking Jarrett, and I'm like, all right, where's Slag Daddy? Need his response. I was like refreshing my page. I'm like, there it is. It was that was worth it. Just Jeff Jarrett appearing as number 2 in the Royal Rumble match was just good for that reason only, because as Slag Daddy would say, Memphis mid-carder for life. So then number 3, I believe, was Nakamura. Jeff Jarrett was already eliminated at this point by Elias. And then you had several competitors come in afterwards. You had, who else was on there? Yeah, Kurt Angle's number 4. I was kind of bummed out. I was like, really? Jeff Jarrett's gone, and now you're bringing Kurt Angle? For obvious reasons, you could have kept Jeff Jarrett a little bit longer in the match for Kurt to come. Maybe I'm thinking of like 2010 TNA here. But anyways, number 5 was Big E, which I thought was cool, because all used to be Big E's gimmick, 3 ain't enough, I need 5, so that was kind of, I don't think I saw anyone mention that on Twitter. But and then came Johnny Gargano as like number 6, and then the Singh brothers, Jim Mahal at 7 with the Singh brothers, and at this point, I think people were starting to get a little dull of the Royal Rumble. They're like, nah, I'm not feeling this Royal Rumble. For me, it was all right. At this point, was it considered like the greatest Royal Rumble of all time? No, but not by any stretch of the imagination. But to me, it was all right. It was decent. It wasn't great, but to me, it was passable. And then number 11 was Titus O'Neil, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's going to do the spot again. He's going to run to the ring and fall straight to his face. And I was going to be like, and then Titus even said a prayer, and then he stopped before going to the ring to prevent another fall. And then, he saw Kurt Hawkins under the ring, and then he went after him. And then Mustafa Ali was number 13, and then you had Kofi Kingston come in. Oh, by the way, I forgot to forget too, because I mentioned Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston, what he's known for in the Royal Rumble matches, to do kind of like this whole, oh no, he's going to get eliminated, and he somehow saves himself at the last second from doing some crazy spot. Yeah, the women were doing that in the women's Royal Rumble match. Yeah, Casey Canizaro do that. She held on to the LAD post and how to hop back in, doing her American Ninja Warrior kind of thing there. And Naomi tried doing that as well, but then Mandy Rose swept her foot under and goes Naomi's face. hit the stairs. Oh, that was great. Damn, Manny Rose, future star in the making. I don't care what anybody says. Anyways, moving back on to this. This match was at this point was kind of decent, and then it just kind of like simmed up to the point to like the later part of the Rumble match because and it was so much that you didn't really have any legend. I mean, yeah, you had Jeff Jarrett, and technically Kurt Angle is a legend; he's a Hall of Famer, but you didn't really have any like big time surprises. Like you didn't have like a DDP, or you didn't have, um, like Ron Simmons or someone. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have any legend that was like, oh no, I never thought he'd be in this match type of deal. By the way, he had JBL and Joe Lawler on commentary with a good old Michael Cole. I'm back, Michael. So you had at number 28, you had Dolph Ziggler. Oh my God. It's 2019 and we're still trying to push Dolph Ziggler in a Royal Rumble match. I'm not even going there. Then you had number 29, you had. It was also announced early in the day that I love you. John Cena would not compete in the Rumble due to an injury, so Braun Strowman was entered just a little bit before this into the match, and I thought Braun Strowman looked relatively well, especially for a guy basically his first real match since having was it shoulder surgery? He had a surgery on his arm, shoulder. And so number 30 came out R-Truth, and we all thought, okay, R-Truth is going to get beat up here because lol, it's R-Truth. He got beat up. But it probably wasn't not the guy, but the person you were thinking of. Nia Jax. This is when myself and many people, I'm sure, and I saw it on Twitter again, were freaking out at this point. We're like, what the hell? What the hell is this? They're shoving feminism down our throat. What the hell is going on? And listen, if there's any female to kind of pull off this thing, I suppose Nia would be one of the better, if not the best option, because she is a big, strong girl. She's pretty, but she's a big, strong girl who can just clear out house, and she beat the shit out of freaking R-Truth here. And she took a spot and won the Rumble. And they're like, okay, whatever, she's until it. And she eliminated Mustafa Ali. Personally, I found that kind of funny because I remember when Mustafa Ali debuted like a month or two ago, everyone was like, oh my God, Mustafa Ali. And I'm like, from 205 Live. How am I supposed to take this guy seriously as a potential top star in the company? And Nia Jax eliminated him and a couple other people too, I believe. And then she tried to go after Rey Mysterio. And then Dolph Ziggler hits a super kick on her. Just so Rey Mysterio can hit a 619 on her. And then Randy Orton had an RKO out of nowhere on her. And it was like, wow. Say what you want about Nia Jax. A lot of people dislike her. That's fine. I know quite a few people like her as well. So, but you have to give credit where credit's due. She sold that like a freaking champ. She did a good job, getting destroyed by not one, not two, but three finishers, and then eventually she was eliminated. So it was kind of, in a weird way, a memorable spot because even though. Say what you want about, oh God, it was Nia Jax. Of course, they have to put a woman in the men's Royal Rumble because, and I know it was like technically Hornswoggle, even though he wasn't an entrant, he was a part of the women's Royal Rumble, and he's a guy. So why is he doing it with the women? And then again, it's the same company last year who it was last year, it was a couple of years ago. That he who must not be named, the one who sends nudes to 16-year-old girls, help Carmella win the women's first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. So I guess I'm not too surprised by this. But listen, again, am I a huge fan of Nia Jax coming at number 30 in this spot? Hell no. But she did have a memorable spot. She did relatively well. This was her second Royal Rumble in the freaking night. So, in a way, I'm impressed by her. And I'm like, all right. I can't crap on this as much as I want to. I can't. Morally, I can't. This is just like something I have to give WWE props for. I'm sure this was Stephanie McMahon's idea. Because remember, she invented women in WWE. There's been no such thing as women until Stephanie McMahon said, we need women around here on Monday Night Raw. And then the women just popped out of nowhere because her husband's God. She's goddess. So Alexa Bliss can say it all she wants. By the way, Alexa Bliss came back in this match, and well, she came back. I mean, like returned in this match, and she didn't look like she missed a beat. She didn't really hit it. She didn't really get into many bumps, but she was in there for a little while. So maybe she's back full time, possibly. Who knows? Anyways, the final three in this match were Dolph Ziggler, Braun Strowman, and Seth Rollins. Ziggler was gone, thank God. And finally, the final two was Braun and Rollins. Braun knocks out, chokeslams Rollins. He's standing over him. Kind of a mixed reaction, surprisingly. And I was like, all right. I thought Braun was more over than this, but all right. I mean, I know Braun was a heel not that long ago, and Seth's doing this for Roman. I miss Roman Reigns. Seriously, this company, as weird as I'm about to say this company hasn't been all that much the same without Roman Reigns. Like, it kind of got worse, just saying. But hey, he's filming a movie with his cousin, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Your grew. And back to this match. Finally, Rollins hits the curb stomp on the apron to Braun and wins the Royal Rumble. And again, it's perfectly fine with this. It made sense. Seth was a favorite. It was either going to be Seth. Some people think maybe Braun. True. Nobody else was really. It was basically the top three, but more so Seth because they're giving him kind of the Rey Mysterio 2006 push of I'm doing it for 80. In this case, I'm doing it for Roman. So again, it is what it is. It wasn't too bad. It was a all right Royal Rumble. Again, was it memorable? As in one of the most memorable Royal Rumbles in history? Not necessarily, but I thought the idea of having Elias eliminate Jeff Jarrett and having Nia Jax having her performance in this match when she just had a Royal Rumble match about 2 hours or so ago, I thought that was kind of memorable in a way in itself. So overall, this Royal Rumble, not terrible, not great either. A lot of what the F moments for sure. But listen, I'd rather have still this Rumble than last year's. Last year's, I just did not like last year's. I'm sorry. Last year's just bored me to tears. There wasn't really much. I mean, yeah, you had Ronda debuting, but then that was, for me, pretty much it. Like, I'm not an Asuka fan. I'm not a Nakamura fan, so it's kind of like, duh. Here, I just enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And now that we're on the road to WrestleMania, now hopefully WWE, usually around this time, wink wink, try to not be in first gear and they actually try to put up compelling storylines, try to put up basically, long story short, entertaining things, storylines and matches for WrestleMania, and they actually seem to try. So hopefully that is the case here. If so, cool. If not, oof, this might be rough. But needless to say, that's about it. What do you guys think about the Royal Rumble? Not just the Royal Rumble matches, but the Royal Rumble in itself. I know a lot of people were burned after the Women's Royal Rumble. They're like, oh, we still got another Royal Rumble to go. And I think that's kind of I know some people saying, oh, that's kind of a problem with having two Royal Rumble matches in one night. They're kind of burned out. They're like, oh, 60 entrants. Oh my god. But what are you gonna do, I guess? The show was nearly 5 freaking hours long. Anyways, I'm out. Have a good one. Take it easy, and peace.